The history of Malacca. In the year 1400, Malacca was discovered by Parameswara when he was resting under the Malacca tree and witnessed a white mouse deer fighting with his hunting dogs. In 1424, Malacca grew into an international post attracting traders from all over the world. In the year 1511 came Alfonso de Albuquerque, who conquered Malacca, thus forcing the Sultan to flee. A Famosa was constructed under his command. 130 years after the Portuguese came, the Dutch invested in Malacca in 1641. In 1824, the treaty between the Great Britain and Netherlands led to the succession of Malacca to the United Kingdom. The British stayed with Malacca the longest. The Japanese occupation happened in the year 1942 to 1945. Finally, Malaya was granted independence on the 31st of August 1957. Malacca is placed in a very strategic location in Malaysia. The red line shows the direction from KL from the north, the yellow line symbolizes the path taken from the south in Johor, and the blue line shows the incoming passageway from Kuantan. A Famosa is a very significant part of Portuguese history. Our site is located 12 minutes away from the famous fort by car, as indicated from the map. In the year 1511, the Portuguese conquered Malacca. Warriors, soldiers, sailors, as well as fishermen centralized themselves and lived close to the river. After the war, they settled down and married the local Malay, Indian and Chinese women from the area as well as Sumatra. In the year 1930, a settlement was founded by two priests, one from France and one from Portugal, located in Ujung Pasir, Malacca. It was by the sea and originally named St. John's Village. In the year 1936, they purchased some land from the British government and invited all the Portuguese people who had settled down at various parts of Malacca to live together as a community. This community has stuck together till today, and presently there is 1,200 people living in the Portuguese settlement, which has also been called Mini Lisbon.
History. Without the Portuguese, Malacca is nothing. Zero. Big fat zero. Yeah?
Main vehicular pathways to our site is highlighted in dark orange on the map. The secondary pathways are highlighted in orange, and the tertiary pathways are highlighted in yellow. Most of the secondary pathways cut through the Portuguese residential settlement and connects it back to the main road. The main pedestrian circulation along pathways leading towards the site is being indicated as the red route from the main road. However, the minor pedestrian walkways runs along the residential area is indicated in the blue route. From the very moment the sun rises at 6 am, hard-working Portuguese fishermen already embark to the sea for their daily catch until noon. Many of these Portuguese men have already established professions, but to separate them from the sea is as cruel as depriving them of their livelihood. At around noon, most of the fishermen will return with their spoils. After hard days of work, the fishermen all enjoy some time together by just conversing and relaxing in any shade they can find. It is at this time where the low tide is occurring, and this gives an opportunity for everyone to witness the mudskippers. While people are admiring the mudskippers, there will already be restaurant workers hard at work setting up tables and chairs while the vendors set up their stalls. By the time the evening comes around and the sun gets lower, tourists and locals alike flood the area indulging in traditional Portuguese delicacies. The Festival of Intrudu is celebrated on the weekend before the Ash Wednesday, where people will splash water at each other as a symbol of cleansing and purifying the soul, and serve as a reminder of the community to rejoice before the start of fasting. The San Juan Festival, or the Festival of Lights, is celebrated on the 23rd of June every year, where all the houses will be lit with candles shining brightly. The San Pedro Festival follows 6 days after the San Juan Festival to show their love for the sea and their job of a fisherman. It is a special celebration of fishermen for their protection and to commemorate the patron of the fishermen. There will be a boat decoration competition and a culture show. Christmas is by far the biggest Christian holiday, and a vast majority of the Portuguese population are Catholics. It is no surprise that they take this holiday extremely seriously. By hook or by crook, every family member will return home to celebrate Christmas, ensuring that the Portuguese settlement will undoubtedly be the liveliest area in Malacca. Our site is mainly surrounded by a large residential district which is inhabited by the Portuguese. However, the site also consists of institutional buildings such as Lim Kok Wing University, Convent High School and a kindergarten nearby. Commercial buildings such as the Temasek Hotel and restaurants are found within walking distance. These are the local landmarks in the Portuguese settlement. The Temasek Hotel, which is located at the Jalan de Albuquerque, is the tallest building closest to the site. Our site is located at the end of Jalan de Albuquerque and it was surrounded by 4 significant landmarks. Towards the west of the site is the Portuguese settlement MBMB Food Court. To the northwest is the Portuguese Square. To the northeast is the Canossa Convent Secondary School and Lisbon Hotel is at the east. Basically, we found that there are many tiny trees which are planted in an organized manner for landscaping instead of shading purpose, since our site is an open space car park. Sun path is being analysed by using 3 different dates that shows the shadow casting of the surrounding buildings at various times of the day. There are 9 AM during the sunrise, 12 PM during its peak, and 6 PM during the sunset. From the analysis, however, it is proven that our site unfortunately does not receive that much shading. Sea breeze refers to the breeze from the sea and is a phenomenon that occurs daily. However, the wind analysis indicates the wind intensity and the direction of the prevailing winds, which occurs annually. The location of the site is near to the sea. This makes the landscape workable. It is also in between the food and education districts. This makes the site lively. Furthermore, it is filled with business activity from the neighbouring food stalls. The lack of shade in the area makes the site uncomfortable. Attracting tourists to the site will be a problem due to the lack of signages and there are no proper pedestrian walkways. During Christmas, most of the houses will be decorated in light and this attracts tourists. Long-term developments are already in place and ample car parks makes vehicular circulation easier. Long, narrow roads in the area are prone to traffic jams. It can attract temporary users who don't appreciate the site and the lack of tourists due to poor signages. Our first prison study is the Playson Cultural Centre. It is designed by a group of architects called 3xN Architects in 2012. It is located in Molde, Norway. We chose this study because similar to the Portuguese settlement, it is only crowded at certain times of the year. It is also located in a small area but has to house over 100,000 people at times. This building utilizes a lot of its exterior as gathering spaces to help solve that problem. These are the orthographic drawings of the Playson Cultural Centre. As seen in the section, this building tries to cater to the building heights of surrounding buildings which are mainly in the low stories. The cultural centre chooses to build into the ground rather than upwards to blend in with the context of the site. These diagrams show the design strategies that were taken into consideration. The top left diagram shows the building being assembled by several planes. The top right diagram shows the stairs connecting the planes to allow easier accessibility. The bottom left diagrams indicate the center of the building which is made of glass to ensure visual connectivity. The bottom right indicates the several gathering spaces to show how the building houses so many people. The next precedent study is the Torsby Finnskog Center located in Torsby, Sweden. This building was designed by Bornstein Laserforce and built in 2014. We chose this study because of how it draws its materials from the existing site and pays homage to the traditional architecture of the area. The main idea of the facade is that they surrounded it with timber logs gathered from the site itself and the actual building is painted black. This is to symbolize the inner building as a shadow of the timber. This is the only floor plan available for the Torsby Finnskog Center. The interior of this cultural center is unique in the sense that they respected the traditional Finn designs and incorporated into the building and they put a modern twist on it. For example, they used a structure similar to the one as a facade, but they used it as a way to exhibit items as well as sitting areas. The architect attempted to merge the traditional with the modern in order to keep the sense of place. The top diagram showcases the different ways the architect utilizes the timber logs. They use them as a form of cover, a way to exhibit items, as well as resting areas. The bottom diagram just shows a close-up look on the timber they used for the facade gathered from the surroundings.
Lacking of any spaces.
Yeah, any spaces or...
I'll give you one example. This is supposed to be a hotel. Yeah? The government promised the village here to build this hotel and give employment to the locals. But at the end of the day, no locals work here.